And we're back. Definitely a little earlier than usual. We always put our podcast episodes out on Tuesdays, and we tend to always break the fights down. So we're trying something different. We're putting out a bonus episode before, UFC 266 is coming up. So we want to kind of go through the fights, break them down, give you our thoughts. I don't know if that matters at all, but our thoughts on the upcoming fights.
Yeah, it's going to be like a breakdown and prediction rather than be Monday morning quarterbacks. So we're actually going to break them down and see how we do in predicting fights. So there's a really good 5 fights on the main card, plus a lot of other good fights. But we're going to be breaking down the 5 main fights, plus it would be like crazy to not talk about Marlon and Merhab. So we'll start with Marlon and Marab. Marlon Moraes and Merab Dusashvili.
So Marab's ranked number 6. Marlon's ranked number 6. Merab's ranked number 11. Marlon was looking kind of like in the UFC unstoppable. He had crazy wins over Aljo, Jimmy Rivera, Asunciao, and then he fought for the title against Henry Cejudo, which nothing to Marlon. Henry's obviously very good, know. And then, after that he had the controversial win against Aldo. Some people could have gone either way. And then it's so tough when you're in the top of the division, especially 135. I feel like, you get a couple losses and they're like, oh, this person's done. It's like, dude, he fought Corey Sandhagen and then Rob Font. Those are tough fights. Anyone could get finished by them.
Yeah, Marlon coming into this fight is 1-3 his last 4 fights, but like you said, they're definitely to the top of the heap. There's no easy matchups for him. Those are all the very best of the best. Those are all title contenders. So granted that Merab has a better record coming in. I think he's on a 5-fight win streak, but much less competition.
Right.
Much lower ranked guys.
Yeah, and it's actually, you could say that for Marlon taking this fight with someone that's ranked number 11, that it's kind of risky, but Marlon's already fought for the title and fought the top, so now that's kind of the position you're in, where then you might fight people that are lower ranked, especially coming off of a couple losses there. And like we say all the time, that 135-pound division, anyone in the top 15 is really, really, really good.
Right. And a lot of people think this is a classic striker grappler matchup, and a lot of times the grappler seems to win those matchups. But I don't think that this is as clear cut as that, because Marlon is definitely difficult to take down. He has decent grappling, and he could really put someone's lights out. He went against the best grappler in the division in Aljamain, and it was a 30-second fight.
Right.
So he's really dangerous to shoot on. To really get close to, because his kicks are so good. So if you can't just shoot in on him and take him down. It's a difficult style matchup. But Merab has that pace that if he could wear him out the first 2 rounds, then the third round's probably Merab's definitely at an advantage.
Yeah, I think it's always obviously Merab's, I would think, would be looking to get the takedown. It's easier said than done, especially when that Marlon has that knockout power. He kind of almost waits for people to shoot and then throws a knockout kick, which is really scary. But I kind of, get the vibe that Merab's doesn't care about that and will just keep shooting until he gets it. And we've seen, this is tough for me because I really like both of them, but we've seen Marlon in the past, after that, if he doesn't get that knockout or is starting, it's not working for him right away, then, he seems to get a little tired. I don't know if that's anxiety tired, but that's when Merab kind of thrives. I think we've said it before. You said it. This would be a better fight for Merab if it was a 5-round fight, but I think the first round is going to be definitely in Marlon's favor, and then after that round, I think it'll just kind of go more and more into Merab's favor.
Yeah, so what's your prediction?
I keep going back and forth on this one. I don't know. I kind of, right away, I was kind of thinking man, Merab's been on a tear. Marlon's kind of had a couple bad fights, but it's tough because Merab's fights haven't been at the level that Marlon's fights are. So I don't know. I think I'm gonna go with Marlon on this. I think that he'll be able to use his striking to pick him apart.
I think I'm gonna go with Marlon also, because if he could stop a couple takedowns, there's a big gap between their striking abilities. So
yes.
If he could keep it on his feet, which it is a big if, but I think that he's trained with Frankie his whole career. He's used to grappling really good wrestlers. I think that Marlon's gonna get this one.
Yeah.
Then we go to the main card, and two girls that you're familiar with, Jessica Andrade and Cynthia Calvillo. What do you think?
Yeah, Andrade right now is ranked number 1. Cynthia's ranked number 5. Cynthia's coming on. Her last fight was against me, and after that fight, she had shoulder surgery, so she hasn't fought. That was like
a year.
Yeah, it's about 10 months ago. But that 10 months of not fighting and having shoulder surgery, which kind of sucks. I've done the same thing, and it's like you're taking off, and then as soon as your shoulder feels better, you're going right into a fight against a number 1 contender. That's pretty tough. And Cynthia's only had 2 fights, I think, at this weight class. She was previously the weight class below. Andrade, it's pretty crazy. I think I'm not sure, but I think she's had the most fights out of any woman in the UFC. She's had 20 UFC fights at 130, wow. At 135, at 115, and now 125. Yeah, I mean, she's 21-9. Like, all her losses were against, Liz Carmouche, Raquel Poundington, and then Weili, Rose, Johanna, and Valentina. So, she's faced everything. Me, I've actually fought both of them 3 weeks apart, and this was probably, pretty much their last fights. So, from my standpoint, I think it's I was surprised. I think Andrade was a minus 280 favorite. I thought she was going to be an even bigger favorite than that. I think that just from being in there with both of them, Cynthia usually tends to use her grappling, which I think she's just too small for this division. I think she doesn't feel strong. She likes to grapple, but she has to shoot, and her takedowns aren't very good. She shoots from super far away. When she shot on me, I just kind of stuffed it really easily. It kind of felt, most girls feel really strong, and she definitely did not feel strong. And I could feel in the fight that she seemed very timid. I don't know if it was that fight, if she had previous injury before, but I could get the vibe. I was like, oh, she's kind of scared. Where Andrade is definitely not scared. So that being said, I just think that Andrade is going to be more of the bully. She's coming off the loss against Valentina. I saw that she even did a jiu-jitsu match after that. So she's staying active, staying fighting. I think this is going to be a clear win for Andrade. I think she can just kind of blitz Cynthia going forward, take her down, and kind of do whatever she wants to her.
Yeah, I think that it's going to be a little closer than you think. I do think Andrade is going to win. But Cynthia Calvillo is really legit. I was looking at her wins, and she has wins over Jessica Ai, Joanne Calderwood, Jillian Roberts, Montana De La Rosa, who are both good grapplers. And her only loss besides you is Carla Esparza. And Carla Esparza has been on a real tear. She's a title contender at at strawweight. And but she has kind of a similar body type and style to Andrade. So I think that could be a telling matchup that she struggled with Esparza, because Andrade is definitely a bigger, stronger, better version of that. So I think that Andrade is going to kind of win the grappling exchanges, have a lot of success in the clinch, cage work, and she's going to win a 3-round decision.
Yeah.
So we both are in agreement, 2 for 2.
Yep. And we actually didn't go over these ahead of time, so I don't really know who your picks are. It was funny. I kind of looked at all the fights to break it down, but I didn't come to a final decision what I was going to say. So when you kind of threw me off with the Marlon and Merhab one.
Yeah, that's the only one that I didn't really look too into. So then the next fight, another similar to Merhab and Marlon. It's a grappler-striker classic clash. It's the heavyweights, Curtis Blades and Jarzino Rosenstrik. I don't think you know a ton about these guys.
Curtis Blades definitely. I mean, he's ranked number 4. Rosenstrik is number 6. I mean, I don't know much about Rosenstrik, but I know a lot about Curtis Blades. He's obviously a very good wrestler. I think he's in his last 11 fights, he's 9-2, but his only losses were his last one with Derek Lewis and then Francis Ngannou.
Exactly. Yeah, he has been knocked out 3 times in his career though, and it's against Derek Lewis and twice to Francis Ngannou. And so you could argue that Rosenstrik is a similar knockout artist. Like he has a KO over Alistair Overeem. He has a bunch of one punch first round knockouts. So he's a super explosive, dangerous fighter. But I don't think that Rosenstrik has the takedown defense like Derek Lewis or Ngannou has. So Curtis Blades, he has very good takedowns, but what I think he's even better at is his ground and pound. Mm-hmm. He gets those he postures up and gets those elbows down. He passes guard, moves them out. His ground and pound is tremendous. He's not just like a wrestler where you take him down and stays in the guard.
Right. If
he gets you down and gets your back flat to the mat, he probably will finish the fight, and that's kind of what I see happening. Probably in the second round, I see Curtis Blades kind of getting a takedown. And Rosenstrik, I don't think is great off his back, and I think that you can expect a TKO on the ground by Curtis Blades.
Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna go Curtis Blades. I feel for some reason, I don't know why, his last fight when he got knocked out, I was really, really upset, and not that I wasn't a fan of him, but I don't know, for some reason in that fight I was really rooting for him, and it was
I'm a fan of his. I love his style, and I like him. He seems cool. I follow him on Instagram.
Yeah,
he's like a fun guy.
Yeah, but I was really upset, so I'm definitely rooting for him to get the win.
Yeah. Then we have a throwback. Nick Diaz, Robbie Lawler.
You love a throwback fight.
I don't, actually. But this is Nick Diaz's first time in the UFC fight since 2015, since he had a no contest with Anderson Silva. But even more crazy than that is that his last win was against BJ Penn in 2011. He's the favorite, I believe, but it's very hard to judge who's gonna.
I saw he was plus 100. Lawler's minus 120.
It's been going back and forth. He's an even money underdog then, I guess. I
feel like that the odds will change when you actually see him get to weigh-ins and the square off, I think.
Yeah, I mean, he's an incredibly technical boxer, and he's definitely got dangerous jiu-jitsu off his back. Obviously the cardio, but Lawler lost to him, and he got finished. It was a legendary win by Nick Diaz, but that was in 2004.
That's wild.
And
I was in middle school.
Yeah, exactly. Lawler's career started really 10 years after that, because Lawler was not he was kind of just a roster guy, and in and out of the UFC, went over to Strikeforce. Then he didn't win his championship until 2014, which is 10 years after Diaz beat him. Then he had a good run, but his last win came against Cowboy in 2017. So he's coming off a 4-fight losing streak himself. But it's to the very best guys. It's Neil Magny, Colby Covington, Ben Askren, and
which that one could have gone. That one was the controversial fight too.
It was controversial, but those are all really, really, really good grapplers. Not just off their back jiu-jitsu guys. Those are guys that dictate where the fight goes. Neil Magny is a takedown guy. Colby Covington, takedown guy. Askren, takedown guy. Dos Anjos, takedown guy. Nick Diaz isn't going to do that. So I think Robbie Lawler is going to turn it into a bit of grappling exchanges on the cage. He'll probably try to keep it close, dirty boxing, and I think that just by being more active and always in there against the best guys in the division, I think that Robbie Lawler is going to win kind of a sloppy 3-round decision.
Yeah, it just sucks because everyone was waiting for Nick Diaz to kind of return, and I just feel it's his return is 5 years too late,
I agree.
You know what I mean? It just sucks because I feel everyone's so excited, and I think sometimes people, common fans, are mistaking him for Nate Diaz, because Nate Diaz has been fighting, they're oh, he's coming back, and I'm dude, it's been so long, and he's actually a year younger than Robbie Lawler, but Lawler's been obviously super active in the Nick Diaz. I don't even know if he was really training over the years. So like where Robbie Lawler, you could be like, okay, he's 1-5 in his last 6 fights.
But it's against the best of the best.
It's kind of the same as like the Marlon situation where we talked about. It's like, well, he's losing to the best guys, and he's still in there and he's still doing good. And I think him fighting, him being active, he's better at knowing right now how to win and how to make a game plan and stick to it. Where if you don't fight that often, I think the ring rust is kind of like, not so much with the speed and the power, but it's more with like kind of like the mindset of having to win. Okay, this is the game plan. Okay, this isn't working. I got to change this up. And doing that in the fight, I think you can only get from fighting, not even from sparring. It's hard to do.
There's so many like techniques and stuff that change, like that become really hot. Like right now, obviously the calf kick is really hot. Or like all the Dagestanis are getting the wrist on top and hooking their legs like a low mount on top for the ground and pound. There's things that like go in cycles, and I think that if you're not in there every day, like Robbie Lawler is at American Top Team with the best guys, he's around it all day, every day, plus competing all the time. You know what's working, and if you don't compete and you haven't competed in like basically like 6 years, I think that he's going to struggle. Yeah.
Like I said, it sucks. Like everyone's excited for it. And I feel like this fight might be like kind of like a letdown. I just think that it's, he just taking that much time off without training, I think is just like, it's tough when you're going against someone else that has been trained. Like everyone kind of puts them in the same category because of they fought before, kind of same era, but it's not really. Robbie Lawler is like an active fighter in a really tough weight division, and Nick Diaz is basically like a retired fighter coming back.
Yeah, I don't think it's the more I'm talking myself even more into it, but I think that's if you're looking for like fight that you get like even money on, I think that's a good one to bet on Robbie Lawler.
Yeah, I'm definitely going with Lawler on that one.
You might even want to parlay it into this one because this is pretty much a lock. Is Valentina over Lauren Murphy? There's really not much to say. Obviously, Lauren Murphy's tough. She brings in like a 5-fight win streak, but she largely depends on her grappling to win.
Yeah.
And I think that I've always felt that Valentina's best attributes is her grappling, more so than her striking.
Right. We talk about that all the time. I mean, like everyone's like, her striking's so great, I'm like, have you seen her body locks that she just like throws every person down with? Like someone like Johanna like never gets taken down, and
exactly.
She just threw her down like multiple times every round.
Or Andrade.
Yeah, Andrade is known for it. Obviously like Valentina's only lost her against Amanda Nunes, close decisions. So like, I mean, I feel bad. It kind of sucks for the division because it doesn't mean it sucks kind of for Valentina because then people aren't really excited about it. But it sucks for the rest of it. It's not that Lauren Murphy's not good. She's just the next girl that hasn't fought her. I think what fans kind of want to see, and obviously I'm saying it because I'm in the division, so I'm like, all right, Valentina, like, you did your thing, get out, But I would think everyone wants to see Valentina go back and fight Amanda Nunes. They're both kind of in similar situations, so we kind of want to see that third match. Usually third matches I'm not that into, but for that one it's been enough time, and both of them are not really getting challenged. So I think for fans, they kind of want to see that. That being said, though, Lauren Murphy, I think she does her best when she's like kind of like sloppy. When she just like comes forward, pushes for the takedown. I mean, do I think she's going to win? No. What do I think she needs to do is just kind of do that and just try to keep grappling her. I will say she does have good jiu-jitsu. I mean, she is very strong. She has good jiu-jitsu. She trains like real jiu-jitsu. I think she's like a brown or a black belt. She competes in like federation tournaments and stuff. She definitely has good jiu-jitsu, and she's good at like, game planning and doing like real techniques. But I think if she just kind of like gets a little gritty, that's her best. That's where she'll do the best. You kind of saw that with Jennifer Maia when she fought Valentina. It almost looked like Jennifer Maia like didn't care. She just kind of kept pressing, and like she had good moments. Obviously, did she lose every round? Yes, but she had good moments, and I think that's what Lauren Murphy needs to do a little bit in this fight to help her. But obviously, I think it's a lock for Valentina.
Yeah, that's a pretty safe bet. But she's obviously like an 800 or something, or minus 1250. Minus 1250.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's you got to put up a lot. But the main event, Alexander Volkonovsky versus Brian Ortega. I didn't even really realize this, but Volkanovski's on a 19-fight win streak.
That's so wild.
And his last 2 wins are back-to-back wins over Max Holloway, and before that, he had a win over Jose Aldo and a TKO finish over Chad Mendez. I think that Alexander Volkanovsky is the most underrated person on the roster, and I mean, you could easily argue that he's like the pound-for-pound number 1. Like, it's incredible what he's doing. I mean, he's so dominant and in such a tough weight class, and beating Max Holloway 2 times in a row. Like, everyone thinks of Max Holloway as like the greatest featherweight ever, like just such an amazing fighter. But he has 2 wins in a row over him in Max Holloway's absolute prime. So it's really, really impressive.
I think Volkanovski, he's a minus 170, Ortega plus 150.
Right. Ortega hasn't been very active the last couple of years. He had that impressive win over the Korean Zombie, but before that, he was finished by Max Holloway. We were at that fight. It was in Toronto.
That was 2018.
2018. It was a beating, very bad. But
so the last like 3.5 years, Ortega's only fought once.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, and he's young too, so like, I don't know, but he looked great in his last fight. So
he looked amazing.
And that was the big thing before that fight. Everyone's like, oh, he took so much time off. He's taken so much time off. And he looked great. So, you know, sometimes that doesn't always work for everyone.
Yeah, he looked amazing in that last fight against the Korean Zombie, who I think very highly of. I think he's a tremendous fighter. But I think that Ortega would need to finish Volkanovski. I can't see him grinding. Volkanovski's pace is so high, and his pressure and his volume is just so crazy that he is going to outwork Ortega, and I think he'll end up winning a 5-round decision. But there are definitely ways that Ortega could win because he has the ability to finish fights. He has 7 submissions, 3 different TKOs, and he had that 1-punch knockout over Frankie Edgar. So he has like tremendous power, and like Frankie's like a shorter guy, just like Volkanovski's a shorter guy.
Similar body types.
They have similar body types. I think that Ortega's going to have quite a bit of length. He could keep him on the outside. He's got pretty good boxing. But
also Volkanovski's dealt with that for his last couple fights with Max Holloway, and I think he has that, you know what I mean? He's used to the range and kind of figured that out.
Yeah, exactly. And he just mixes it so well. Like, he'll shoot to the legs, and he comes up to the body, and he has a really nice inside trip. And he knows how to, looks like he knows how to, score points. Like, if it's a close round, like, all his fights with Max, they're really close rounds. But then he'll throw, a lot of leg kicks at the end of the round or get a takedown to steal the round. And I find that he, steals rounds, and you're like, wait, did he win? And it's kind of you're not sure if he really won, but then when you look at it more closely, he definitely did. And if he could put a pace on Max Holloway, that means he could put it on anyone in the world.
Yeah.
So I think that Volkanovski is a pretty safe bet. I think it'll be a 5-round decision.
Yeah, I think so too. But, you know, obviously it's a safe bet, but also not safe bet because, like you said, Ortega's able to finish the fight in different ways, which makes it kind of a scary bet, you know, with his submissions and everything. But I'm going to go with Volkanovski, but that fight's a little scary still.
Did we disagree on any fights?
No.
I don't think we did.
No, we didn't. That's crazy.
The only one that I wasn't really sure of is the Marlon and Merhab.
Yeah.
Other than that, I almost would string together a parlay. I feel pretty good about all of these.
Yeah.
Although I do think that Cynthia and Andrade is going to be a little closer than you think.
Yeah.
I think that Andrade had a really good win over you, but I think it was kind of a freak thing. You don't see very many body shot finishes,
right?
Flyweights. So she got a lot of mileage out of that, but. She has had, tough fights with other people. I think that, I see her winning, but I think that's another one that's pretty close.
Yeah, I think that one, I think Andrade will win. Maybe it will be closer than what I think. But yeah, the Merhab and Marlon one's the only one I kind of go back and forth. You said we should do the 5 fight parlay. I was like, yeah, but the Marlon fight's the first one of the night.
Well, it would be a 6th. Marlon wouldn't be on.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm thinking, so if you did all of them with the Marlon fight, that would be scary because then if you lose the first fight, then it's like a miserable night of watching fights.
Yeah.
If you lose the first fight on the parlay, the best is when you do a parlay and you win all of them. It's up to the last fight.
If you're a gambler, I like to just bet on individual fights. I know you don't get like the all those points because of the parlays, all those odds, but it's so hard to pick one winner. To string together 3 or 4 or 5 is really almost like impossible.
It's
but
crazy.
I feel pretty good about our predictions. We'll see how they turn out.
Yep. And then, next week on Tuesday after the fights, we'll basically go over all of them on our podcast, Burning the Boats. And, anything else?
No. Hope you guys like this. Again, like always, if you're enjoying the content, leave us a ranking and a review. We really appreciate those.
And let us know what you think of this bonus episode. If you like us breaking the fights down, if you think we should do it more often, let us know.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.